From Lalate headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons Lalate.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your forced stimulus check update of 2021, direct from Santa Monica, California. In this recording, we go over that $3.5 trillion recon that's passed. That'll pay viewers on average $15,000 across the board. That has a $25,000 add-on on top of it from Maxine Waters, a $250 billion add-on on top of it from the incredible Bob Casey from Pennsylvania, and MSC from Chuck Schumer. In this recording, we'll go over all the incredible clusters that have passed from 1, 2, and 3. 1, hazard pay. 2, home repairs. And 3, money for seniors. But we aren't done there yet, because the details are heating up with a lot of breaking news at noontime. At afternoons, actually, as we go into a big afternoons broadcast. What's going on? Number 1, a potential deal in the making with Joe Manchin. And this is that could involve not one, but 2 backups, clean energy and carbon tax. Meantime, exciting details as the meetings continue, with Sanchin showdown going on. Sanchin had a meeting last night, Bernie Sanders and Joe Manchin, all the latest details of what happened in those meetings. And more meetings continue today as Congress is back in session for 3 weeks. They got the recon to get done, and also student loan debt, the infrastructure and the debt ceiling. But we aren't done there. More money coming across the board as COLA is being raised 5 to 6%, but that's not the only start of it. There's 2 other sums of money that are going on top of that. I'll explain the details as fifth stimulus heats up. Then we go back to student loan debt with more money coming out, and there could be more money as well. And then the incredible details of an Lalate 1.5 year anniversary. We look back on the first 140 million views of this channel and what is coming up next for this channel. And we got an incredible broadcast. And we're just getting started as Lalate approaches its 1.5 year anniversary this weekend, because it's a big day. Let's get to the breaking details, and this is Lalate. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. It got a little bit warmer here in Southern California after very, very cold weather the last few days. Well, Congress is back in session, and guess what? They got a lot to do. I'll have the latest details of what they're going on. Then we turn to that $3.5 trillion recon and the great news about that forced stimulus check update of 2021 with a potential deal in the making with Joe Manchin and 2 backup plans. I'll have those breaking on afternoons. Meantime, meetings continue late today. There was a meeting yesterday as well, as the Sanchin showdown continues with Joe Manchin and Bernie Sanders. Then we come to the incredible details of student loan debt. More debt could be forgiven, and it could also be yours. Then the COLA raises, more money being raised. And then we look back on the 1.5 year anniversary of this channel as it approaches it this weekend. 140 million views in 1 year. What does this mean for us? What does this mean for you? We go over all those incredible details. We'll be going over this incredible $3.5 trillion recon that has passed, that has $15,000 for you across the board, plus a $25,000 add-on, then a $250 billion add-on on top of that from Bob Casey, and then the MSCs. We got cluster number 1. We're going to go over cluster number 2 and cluster number 3 of those checks. Lots of them that pay upwards of $15,000. We're just getting started. We got a big broadcast, and this is Ally, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Evenings Ally at 5 o'clock. Then we got a big stream stimulus at 7 o'clock. But first, before that, is our hit news show, Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock. Shows at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11:30, and then 3 and 3:30 in the morning. 16 hours of programming on this channel every day, on the hour, by the hour, about your fourth stimulus. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's cut to this incredible $3.5 trillion recon. It's for everyone. Single individuals, married couple, seniors, young children, people across the board, employed and unemployed, red states and blue states, will pay the viewers of this channel on average about $15,000. It's made up of 3 clusters of checks so far passed in a subcommittee called the House Budget Committee subcommittee that'll pay viewers about $15,000, but they got 3 clusters they're proposing to put on top of that. I got all those incredible details, and we're going to start with the first cluster of checks, and boy, it's deliciousness. The first cluster of checks starts with money for hazard pay, and also money for my seniors. This is wonderful. What did they do? Well, they started with the EIC, the Earned Income Tax Credit, and they broadened the eligibility and increased the payout. So more people qualified for this money, and more people would get it. Then they got doing $4,000 a year for elder care, $4,000 a year for young children's care. Wow. Then they got college grants in there as well. Grants to the university, grants to the college student, and then the Pell's grant made tax-free. But we aren't just starting there yet, because then they got money in there on top of that for the incredible CTC. Broaden the eligibility of those MSCs, so that's about $51,000 a year. $300 a month every month for every year, up to 18 years, that's $51,000 a child if the household remains low income. Then they got home repairs. Did I wake you up on that one? It always works. Home repairs got in there, which is incredible. If you live in a low-income community, totally free, provided by the federal government. As soon as this becomes law, I'm showing you how to get all this incredible money on this channel. Then they got the incredible money for bikes, cars, and trucks, all electric, all U.S. auto manufactured. 15% for the purchase of a new electric bike, $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, personal use, and a little bit more if it's for business use. And that is the first of 3 clusters of checks passed in that House subcommittee. That'll pay you upwards about $15,000, but we're just starting there yet, because now we're going to go to the first add-on, and that first add-on is $25,000. It comes from Maxine Waters, the legislator, the House representative here from Southern California, Los Angeles. She's proposed $25,000 of hard cold cash to you for the purchase price of your first home. Wow. How would this likely work? I think it would be during the escrow period. Right before you're about to close escrow, the federal government would give the money directly to the seller in your name, $25,000. That is huge. And that is the first of 3 add-ons. But time to go to the second cluster of checks pass of this recon that'll pay you about $15,000 as a viewer of this channel. Here we go. Home repairs and more of those. And then paid sick leave. Yes, we got more money of that as well. So how did they do this? Well, they got those home repairs in there. But first, let's go to the paid leave. Wow, this is great. They got $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 more per year, split in half. That would be then $35,000 annual salary, $800 a week, split in half, $15,000 annual salary, $400 a week. They got child tax credits, household tax credits. They got money for seniors like dental, more about that in the third cluster. They got pre-kindergarten totally free, community college totally free, and then they got money to repair your home with what's called weatherizing your home. Wow, this is for everyone, not just low-income communities. Weatherizing your home checks. Definitely need to weatherize your home, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. As I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of your house, and wherever possible, keep the moderate Democrats out of the Senate. There we go. And that is the second cluster of 3 clusters of checks that'll pay you about $15,000. Isn't that great? It's about $15,000 across the board. No matter how they modify the recon, you're going to still be looking at this money. But now let's go to the second add-on that goes on top of those 2 clusters so far past, and it comes from the wonderful senator from Pennsylvania, Bob Casey. Bob Casey has proposed a $250 billion add-on that is big money for you if you're a senior or if you're on disability, SSI, SSDI. What is he proposing? Big hard cold cash to the states so that they can provide you things like home health care totally free. Bob Casey sees a problem and has 2 great solutions to it. So he sees the problem of home health care. People cannot afford it, so what do? You're elderly, you're disabled, you can't afford it, you have your son and daughter stay home and no longer work to take care of you. So it has 2 problems. He tries to solve it with one solution, which is give big money to the state so that they can provide you a licensed professional for home health care totally Free. Wow. That would alleviate you any financial strain on the family. You would have a freely provided by the state. And then your son and daughter can go to work and make a living. Incredible details. Then let's turn to the third cluster of checks, pass. And this has a world exclusive in there as well. And it's courtesy of Bob Casey again. In this third cluster of checks, you're going to hear two key words. Listen for those two key words. They are clean energy, because they are part of your money coming up in a second. Free school meals for all checks are in the third cluster. Then we got cheaper prescription medication, checks for farmers, checks for free internet, checks for clean energy. There's that word. Then workers' checks like independent contractors, then checks for seniors, dental, vision, hearing, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare. Well, there we go. That is the first world exclusive in this recording. Bob Casey's office tells viewers of this channel that he's looking to drop the Medicare eligibility age from 65 to 60. Wow. Of course, Bob Casey is 61 years old. Then, that clean energy. Well, you're going to hear it in this recording now, but I'm going to bring it up later. The clean energy provision reportedly has a lot of checks in there, and there's one massive check in there that has to be taken out, and reportedly has been taken out because Joe Manchin doesn't like it. It frees up about at least $100 billion plus. So where's that money going to you? It's going to Purple Power Energy. Yes, that's what happens when you take out a program. You don't take out the money goes to something else like you. We saw this when the Senate parliamentarian ruled that the judiciary can't get money on the recon. They took out that program, but they reallocated the money to you. Two of the checks in this third cluster are incredible. One of them is free internet. You're just going to have to reach out to city, county, state, say, I want that free internet. Really? What's the username? The username is a Moolah Moolah. And the password is Casino VIP room. There we go. If you haven't become a Casino VIP, the link's under the video as well. So that is the third cluster, and I know what you're thinking about. Okay, so there's a third add-on, isn't there? Yeah, there's a third add-on, and that third add-on is something we've talked about just a little bit. That third add-on is the MSC. Boy, there we go. The number one legislator for the Senate, Chuck Schumer, has said he's going to insert a monthly stimulus check provision. He's not the only person who said it. We've had, close to 12 Democratic leaders on both the Senate and House side detail on this channel over the last month. Casey Coons, Warren, Sanders on the House side, and then on the Senate side, on the House side, we have Omar Jalapal, Pelosi, and more. But Chuck Schumer is very important. Chuck Schumer is very important because he's the leader of the Senate. How do they add this MSC in there? And then let me also go over an exclusive about that MSC in just a second. Well, when we're looking at the three add-ons, the $25,000 from Maxine Waters, the $250 billion from Bob Casey and the MSC, there's three ways to add it on. 2 in the House and 1 in the Senate. We're currently at the stage of a House subcommittee. Subcommittee means we're lower than the House floor. We're before the House floor. We do not have a bill. We have a package. And that package is $3.5 trillion with 3 clusters of checks that pay you about $15,000. They can add these MSCs, the Maxine Waters and the Bob Casey items, to that recon package. Sheila Jackson is the really go-to person for this. She's the number 2 in the Progressive Caucus. She's the lead author that did that package. Now, if they don't do it there, then what comes next? Before they get the House bill organized, they can add it to the House bill. Number 3, they can add it to the House bill after we have a House bill, but before we have a vote. So, for example, we see the House bill doesn't have it in there. Then they can add it into the House bill before it before it goes to a House vote. Now, let me pause for a second. One viewer of this channel reached out to Omar's office yesterday. And Omar's office said the negotiations are done and that the negotiations have resulted in a $2,000 first month check, $1,000 every month thereafter for 6 months. This is not a new story on this channel. I've covered this many, many times. But the fact that the negotiations are done is totally new. You're hearing it for the first time on Afternoons LA. And that it was not particularly clear where they're going to add it, but they would add it on the House side was the representation from Omar's office to the viewers' channel. And that they think they would add it after the bill's written but before the vote, it wasn't particularly clear that Nancy Pelosi is supporting the add-on. This is not the first time that Nancy Pelosi said she supports the add-on. Now, if the House doesn't take care of it, then we have really the Senate to take care of the situation. During a 2-day event called the Votorama. The Votorama is just where you bring out your bell-bottom jeans, which you wore yesterday. You've been wearing them all week long. I won't say that out loud. I know who you are. And yeah, that psychedelic shirt, it's not muddled blue. It just muddled every color. It's just muddled every color. It's just, you look at it, it's very confusing. Sort of like looking at Joe Manchin's economic plans. You're just sort of like, what? I don't understand that. So the 2-day Votorama is the final 2 days in the Senate when the bill gets to the Senate from the House. And they look at it and say, I'm confused. We need to make changes. Who makes those changes? Chuck Schumer. Who calls the vote for them making the changes? Chuck Schumer. Who governs the vote on the changes? Chuck Schumer. Who wants to put a monthly stimulus check provision in there? Chuck Schumer, along with Casey Coons, Warren Sanders, and Warren. Sorry about that, Liz. And they all want to put it in there. Who determines what they wear to the Votorama? Mitch. I mean, he really has to be in charge of something. So they gave him the outfit wardrobe, because you know he's going to butcher that also. He just doesn't get anything right. But you know, it's the 1970s. That's when, you know, things, you could be excused if things just don't make sense. There we go. That is where they added in there. Now, let's go to the second part of great news, which is the fact of the clean energy. You heard it earlier in this broadcast. They take out that provision of that clean energy, then it frees up more cash. That free cash can be allocated to those add-ons. This is big. We've covered this several times on this channel. And then, of course, the big one is this message, which came in from the #1 senator for your recon. And the message is for both me and it's for you. The message is very clear. Keep on advocating. Don't stop. Advocate down to the finish line. They now have in total between congressional and senatorial offices, the message report says, receive more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures in the American petition, which means we are at 3 million calls so far to Congress. Keep on calling. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from LA viewers. They now have a better understanding of how the average American is trying to make it through the pandemic because of Allied viewers. They now have heartbreaking stories, and they have now the voice of the people in you, Allied, as the nation has, across the nation, as you have become too loud, Allied, to be ignored. Well, thank you so much. Please continue your encouragement. Let me read this part on air. This concerns me. It's a message to me, but it also addresses you. They say to me, please, LA, continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice of the people you have become until this becomes law. Thank you so much. That's very, very kind. And this is very important for you. So we need to continue to advocate until we are over the finish line. In the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up. We have all the incredible details of a potential deal in the works. We have a possible backup plan, not one or two. We have sanction heating up with a meeting last night and a meeting today on the latest details. Student loan debt forgiveness is coming up in the second half of this video. COLA raise. And then I particularly look back at the first 1.5 years of this channel and what 140 million views has looked like and what we've learned over the time. We have incredible details and more like that coming up in the second half. Stay with me. We have a big afternoon show. It's just getting started. But first, here's a little bit about the community page, and I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Daily for the excitement of the new LA live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA at 9 a.m. Home LA returns at 11 a.m. daily. then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons LA Late as Congress is back. All the latest details as they have your recon, the debt ceiling limit, and roads and bridges all to do at the same time in the next 3 weeks. We have a possible deal with Joe Manchin. I'll explain what this possible deal looks like. And then the backup plans, not one but two of them. Then a sanction showdown that happened last night and is continuing today. This is breaking news on Afternoons LA. I'll go over what's happening. More student loan debt could be forgiven today. I'll have those as well. The COLA raise and how this is not your only raise. And then we look at back at the first 1.5 years of this channel as it approaches its 1.5 year anniversary this weekend. What 140 million views looks like, we'll look back at that situation as well. Then we have a lot coming up with third stimulus. I'm going to show you how to get big money across the board. I'll have a little bit of commentary about where I think they can get this recon done and where they need to really get the recon to get it over the finish line. It's all coming up in a supersized afternoon's broadcast, so subscribe. A 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. We got a lot of shows coming up today. We have a brand new Evenings LA, which is going to be totally different than Afternoons LA like yesterday. The news cycle is changing about every 4 hours at the moment. So the shows are very different of every few hours. So Evenings LA, expect a totally different show coming up at 5 o'clock tonight. Then we got the hit news show, Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock. Street and Stimulus, which yesterday was nearly an hour-long show about fourth stimulus. Sirloin at 8, and then shows at 9, 10, 11, 12, 3, and 3:30 in the morning. We now have 16 hours of programming on this channel all about fourth stimulus. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Let's turn to the big surprise, which may not be done with its surprises just yet, and that is student loan debt forgiveness. There could be more student loan debt forgiven even this week. What's going on? Well, the president initially forgave some student loan debt for individuals who became disabled after graduation. Then last week, the president forgave 2 more rounds of student loan debt. What were they? First, he forgave student loan debts for individuals who went to work in the nonprofit sector for 10 years after graduation. Incredible. All forgiven. Then he forgave student loan debts for individuals who went into the public sector for 10 years after graduation. Huge. This is city, county, state, federal government, sanitation department, public school teacher, a public works official, meter maid, a Halloween cop. All those things you dress up for Halloween. Yeah, all those people, your debts are forgiven. Now you can, dress good for Halloween. All that and more. One viewer found this out on Morning's Countdown. He was on the live chat and said, I've been a federal prison guard for 20 years after graduation. Do you mean my debts are forgiven? I said, yes, sir. They're forgiven. Meantime, the incredible great news is that the president says he will forgive an initial $10,000 of student loan debt for everyone else in the next few days. I would hope the Democrats really take that and not hold out for $50,000. You can always add on to it. Take the $10,000. Let's alleviate that debt and move on. That's sort of the notion of a lot of the topics I'm covering the second half, which is the Democrats shouldn't try to go for huge wins. Just take incremental wins and move on. Possible deal with Joe Manchin is one of those incremental wins. And the deal was hatched by the White House, thinking correctly, on Wednesday. The deal was unearthed on this channel on Friday. You're not going to hear it on any broadcast media. It was an exclusive covered in a buried article in a print publication. The president floated a provision that would, a deal offer that would take a provision of one of the 3 clusters so far passed, change the language so that the big industries in Joe Manchin's home state would qualify for the money. Makes sense, doesn't it? Joe Manchin is a senator from the state of West Virginia, where he previously was governor. There's big industries in that state, and those big industries are things like fossil fuels. Joe Manchin wants some of the language of the recon changed. Here is where it makes sense, because if you change this language, you allow the big industry players, the big constituents, the people that Joe Manchin has always had as supporters since governor and now senator, eligible for this money. Why would he not do this deal? It's lots of money. The idea is that to make the language changed so that coal and natural gas power plants could qualify for billions of dollars under this recon. And this would be a big financial payout for financial fuel providers in Joe Manchin's home state. I think they can get this done. Joe Manchin reportedly likes the idea. It came from the White House. Then we have two other plans that are being floated out there. And those two other plans involve the following. One, clean energy. Clean energy is a part of that third cluster. You saw it in there. It has a lot of sub-checks in there. One of the sub-checks Joe Manchin doesn't like. Take it out. Don't even debate it. Just take it out. Leave the other checks in there. And by taking that check out, then you can reallocate the resources, the funds, for us, for those MSCs, for the Bob Casey money, for the Maxine Waters money. Make it easy. Just take it out. Very, very simple. But that might not be enough. They also are proposing a second backup, which is a carbon tax. Now, the carbon tax causes confusion among some viewers because some people hear it and they say, ooh, I don't know. It's not necessarily a tax on your money. It's a tax on the business's money. And the carbon tax has a lot of ways it can be done. I'm not going to sort of brief you on how they do it because it's very fluid. It's a very fluid situation. And this is something Joe Manchin may particularly really like. And this is one of the backup plans across the board. Meantime, Sanchin is heating up. It's the Sanders-Manchin show. And Bernie Sanders and Joe Manchin battled over the weekend after Bernie Sanders published a op-ed in Joe Manchin's home state, saying to the people of West Virginia, support the recon. Joe Manchin didn't look kindly on someone coming to his home state to tell his residents to do something other than what their senator is doing. So that caused a war of words between Sanders and Joe Manchin. Those war of words were eased as the two Democrats met last night for a secret dinner, which I first delivered you the details on Evenings at LA last night. The meeting was successful, was productive, and the meeting is reportedly to continue today. The president's also having meetings all throughout the day. What's at issue here is that it's important to understand, I think there's been big progress made. And despite the need of broadcast media to sort of sensationalize the situation, I think there's big progress. The big progress, one, is that the sides, Manchin and Sanders, now know what the other side wants. There was a time in which we weren't hearing from the moderate Democrats what they really wanted. Now we do hear. They like the recon. They like the recon. They'll pass the recon. They don't like the price tag, $3.5 trillion. They want it lower. And they don't like the prescription medication language, Kristen Sinema, and they don't like some of the climate language. So this is really productive because now you know what you want and you're going forward. Yesterday, later in the video, I inserted my commentary. I'm going to start a little bit earlier here, which is that don't make this so difficult. Don't make this so difficult. In 2020, as we look back on the first year and a half of this channel, in 2020, we had Nancy versus Donald. Remember that? And Nancy was at 3.5 trillion. Sound familiar? And Donald was at 1.9, and he was at 0.9. Then he went to 1.2 and 1.4. And Nancy wasn't moving. She was staying at 3.5. Eventually, she got nothing because she just stayed at 3.5. You can't just stay on a number, and you can't just stay on a number. And ultimately, this time it's a little bit different because it's Democrat with Democrat. Joe Manchin is somewhere in the high ones, and Bernie and the progressives are in the mid threes. The way you get this done is you just shorten the duration of the programs, bring them down, and get them out the door. Let's go over how Sanchin showdown can be hatched by just shortening the durations. There is two ways to fix. There are three issues at hand that have to be fixed. The first one is the prescription medication, which Kristen Sinema, by all accounts, that may have already been fixed because we've heard nothing about Kristen Sinema and prescription medication for nearly 10 to 14 days. So this may have been fixed behind closed doors. Number two, the climate. Joe Manchin doesn't like particular language about the climate. Take it out. Take it out. Just take it out and move on and leave whatever climate you can keep in there and take care of climate next year. Number three, getting the price tag from 3.5 trillion down to whatever it needs to be at, 2.119. That is easy. How easy is it? You just shorten the duration of the programs. When you're looking at the programs, you're looking at the reporting of this channel since July. At the time, I was speculating about how long these programs were. Now that speculation has now been confirmed as exclusives. Originally, Bernie and the president wanted a $7 trillion recon that would pay out for 20 years. Now, it is great the president wanted to have programs to run for 20 years, but before you propose anything that's 7 trillion, you need to know you have Democrats on board for 7 trillion. They didn't. So they said they weren't going to do 7 trillion. They said, we'll do something smaller. Bernie said 3.5 trillion. It became done. Law, recon procedural passed. That, at that time, Bernie Sanders said he was cutting the duration of the programs. I speculated he'd cut them to 10 years. Now we have the confirmation he did. The programs currently in the recon are at 3.5 trillion at 10 years. But even looking at that, you and I know that's not a particular, if you can't get it done at that, then cut the duration. Why are we talking about 10-year programs? When we're looking at the state of this economy, the state of your situation, the state of the bills, we need big checks right now, this year, next year, maybe the next year after that. We don't need to be focusing about year 9 and year 10. And guess what? All the progressives and Nancy and I all say the same thing as you do. Cut the duration, which is sort of the only thing that troubles me is why no one saw this months ago. They should have cut the duration a long time ago and just cut the duration enough so that we get every single Democrat on board. Don't say you're going to cut the duration from 10 years to 8 years. Cut it to 5 years. Cut it to 4 years. Get it done and get it finished. Don't sort of, I almost cursed. Don't half, yeah, that word. Don't half do it. Cut the duration enough. Let's go over the incredible comments that came in from Pelosi, Jalopal, Bernie, and Alex Padilla that address the situation and why they now realize this is how you get it done. And remember, it's Democrat and Democrat. It's not Nancy and Donald anymore. It's Democrat and Democrat. Just get it to where everyone likes. Senator Mark Warren says we need to do this right now because we have the triple crown. We have 3 Democratic controls in place. Don't mess it up when you have it. Sanders said 2 weeks ago, we don't know what the moderate Democrats want. Now you do. Now you do. Take the things out they don't want and get it done. And then we had Pelosi saying this incredible comment, which is the recon will get done because it must get done. Absolutely. So the way you get it done, Nancy, is cut the duration enough. Central to the recon is the climate provision. We have no choice to make this decision. Absolutely. We all like the climate. Keep as much of the climate in there, but don't try to overbite on the climate. Don't try to be too greedy on the climate because if the moderate Democrats say, I don't like this provision on the climate, don't blow up the whole bill because you're holding out for a particular provision. Alex Padilla, senator from California, says no climate, no deal. Absolutely. Meaning focus on what part of the climate you can get an agreement on and get that done. Don't focus on every provision of the climate. Focus on the ones that you can get done and move on. Bob Casey says people have been wondering, why have you done this for so long? He says because it's been 40 years. And then Jalopal, which I really think she's almost like the voice of reason. She really is the only one that sort of says it like I do, says it like you do, day in, day out. She says there's 2 concerns: big checks, immediate checks. Well, and then third concern, for you. And she said the focus should not be 10 years. The progressive focus is checks on you. And this is what's very important. The climate is going to be crappy in a few months from now. Climate's going to be crappy early next year. We can take care of the climate if you can't get all the provisions of the climate done next year. Your bills need to get done now. Your bills need to get done now. No one's waiting around for your bills. We can wait around for the climate for 6 more months or 3 more months, and we can do it in the 6th stimulus recon. But your bills need to be paid now. And that's why they need big checks right now, quickly. And that's what Jalopal says as well. We should reduce the number of years of the programs because the universality of the benefits and the immediacy of the benefits are absolutely critical. There you go. Quick and fast. Those are the priorities. And frankly, it's more important to us than having it for the entire 10 years. There you go. So you made an effort to try to do it for 20 years. No one wanted to do it for 20 years. You try to make an effort for 10 years. Good. Let's move on and just cut it enough, 5 years and 4 years, and move on and go on to the next recon bill. Just get this one done and move on. And I really think that is where the reality check needs to come on in. With that, we have some surprises, and that surprise is the COLA raise. And that COLA raise is absolutely incredible. There is not one, but 3 raises for your benefits that are going to be kicking in. What's going on? So you got that letter from Social Security Administration that says your benefits are going up in the next few weeks, 5 to 6% approximately. So that is not the only raise up you're going to get. You're going to get 2 others after that if fifth stimulus becomes law. Let's go over fifth stimulus and how this works. First, your benefits are going up in the next few weeks if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security Railroad benefits. Those benefits are automatically going up because the current law is COLA. What is COLA? It's a benchmark. It's been around for many, many years. It's done nothing for anyone. It's always been 0 or 1 or 0.5%. But because inflation is out of control, it's giving you a very nice 5 to 6%. In fact, it's incredibly good 5 to 6%. Why? Because this was the number we were looking for in July of this year when we were talking about fifth stimulus. When I said fifth stimulus is going to be great because it's going to raise your benefits up an average of 5%, if that's what inflation is in December, well, you're getting the benefit from the current law of COLA. Now, before I go to the next step, which I don't think I made clear yesterday, is now that your benefits are going up 5 to 6%, that's lifetime. You'll never go back to this older level that you're at this year. The level you're at this year is the last time you'll ever see that level. You are going to step up and always be at the new level going forward. But guess what? You're going to get 2 other step-ups after that if fifth stimulus becomes law. First, they're going to raise your benefits up again if this is you, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits. That's you, of course. And then they'll apply a new benchmark. It will be inflation, replacing COLA in December of 2022. Where's inflation going to go? It's going to be 1, 2, 3% next year, most analysts are thinking. That's what I believe as well. And COLA next year, I think, could go right back to 0, which means you would have no new raise if they stayed on the current benchmark. That's why they want to stay with the current benchmark. So you get 3 raises. Then they're going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have some Casey Royal Blue for Canute. Not for me, for Canute. And some stimulus checks in your hand. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. Now you'll be able to work. And love is going to win, and the marriage penalty is going to win. And you'll be able to do a pair dance at your own wedding. Rob and Sandy will get married and no longer feel the loss of the marriage penalty. And there you go. That is fifth stimulus. Then we have the 2 items. Then we have the big exciting details of what's going on with third stimulus. My goodness. Third stimulus is still paying viewers out this door a lot of money. So get that pen and paper ready because I'm going to show you how to get big sums of money. We've been doing this as we look back on the first 1.5 years of this channel, we've done a lot of this for a long time. And the great news is that third stimulus is still paying out. Who would have known? So get that pen and paper ready because I'm going to get you some rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance. We're going to get some clothing, some appliances, some blankets, some holiday food, and some holiday gifts as well. We're going to start with the rent. Rent is money that you can get from 6 places. Reach out to all 6 places. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. If one says no, reach out to the next. Then get ready for the keywords I'm going to say in this video, and then get ready for the nonprofits. Here are the 6 places you reach out for rent. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, and State Housing Authority. Those 6 places. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. And how much money can you get? This is what viewers have been getting. Oh, we have a graphic on there. How'd that graphic get back on there? I thought I took that graphic off of there. I looked down and there's a Sanchin graphic. I don't know what that's doing there. Apologies. Sanchin, go away. It doesn't want to leave there. There we go. Get you away. There. Oh, it doesn't still want us. The Sanchin graphic is sort of sitting there. Oh, that's why you're there. Okay, bye. Sorry, Sanchin graphic was just sort of sitting around, not wanting to leave. Didn't understand why. The money for rent is incredible. The money for rent is anywhere from $20,000 to $27,000. Joe Manchin can't get you this money. Viewers are beginning upwards of $40,000 of this money, and Mark got an additional $36,000 last week. Wow, bringing his money even higher. Let's get some money for utilities. You need to get money from all utility companies. So if you got 5, reach out to 5. And Mark's brother-in-law is getting $15,000 for this. And then when we turn to the money for SNAP, wow, this is incredible. Get that SNAP. You get from Department of Agriculture. Average benefits are going up 25% a lifetime automatically starting this month. So Mark's brother-in-law is heading to $26,000. Then get combos. Get as many items as you can across the board. Lorraine, $110,000. Mark is almost at $90,000 now because he got an additional $36,000. Let's cut to those unemployment benefits from the state. Yes, overpayment due to computer error. It's coming back. Average payment from your state due to computer error is about $2,000 to $5,000. Reach out to your state to get it. And then the refund check from the federal government due to the taxes you paid on the 2020 unemployment benefits, that is coming back. It's about $1,200 to $2,000. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. If you got any sums of money like this, post in the live chat. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? The newsletter comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, written by me personally to you via the YouTube alert system and the LA Late alert system, which is totally free. The LA Late alert system is at news.la.com/alerts. It's also in the description of this video. The newsletter is important for you to read because guess what? As soon as third stimulus became law, I told viewers, yeah, $1,400 stimulus check. I'm going to get my viewers $15,000. I got my average viewer about $40,000 from third stimulus. Have you gotten the sums of money yet? If you haven't, become a member. This money is there. The money is actually there. It also features the nonprofits, and I'm going to go over those nonprofits as well right now. There are 5 of them: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. The 5 nonprofits pay for the same items as third stimulus. If you've reached out to the 6 places from the federal and local and state government, cannot find them, have found the money, but you're not eligible for the money, then reach out to the nonprofits. They do the same amount of money with different eligibility. But the nonprofits also help with other items that the federal government doesn't do. Homeless people into shelters. People help them with holiday meals. Salvation Army is doing holiday meals. A lot of the Salvation Army gifts are now about over. I've been covering them since September. I said maybe mid-October they're over. Most of them are over, but they're doing holiday meals in some places. They also are very keen on making sure you do not freeze it out. So portable furnaces, portable heaters, fixing broken windows, refrigerators, they have been giving to viewers of this channel during the last few weeks as well. So reach out to those 5 nonprofits. Again, they're United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, and St. Vincent de Paul. They're also featured in the newsletter. The newsletter also features the new Treasury statement about that $13 billion going out to city, counties, and states. Read that before you reach out for the rent, because that explains the additional round of money for rent going out locally. And what's important to understand is as soon as fourth stimulus becomes law, I'm going to show you how to get all this incredible sums of money in that fourth stimulus, about $15,000. So consider becoming a member today. The link is under the video. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. As we look back on the first 1.5 year anniversary of this channel, which is approaching this weekend, this channel it just is very blessed by all your love and support. This channel launched on April 25th, 2020. In the middle of the pandemic. Businesses were closed in Los Angeles. There was nothing around. Beaches were closed, and I was on the beach. And shortly thereafter, I learned, just go with it. One of the things that I always try to show people is how my mindset may help your mindset. And at the time, people said, wow, he's very positive, he's very motivating, he's very inspirational. There was a problem, and people weren't getting certain types of money under the stimulus packages. And I said, make the phone call. Make the phone call? Yeah, I said, make the phone call. And I said, don't call once, call 3 times. And then I said, did you call the right number? And if they were rude to you, say, thank you, have a beautiful day. Hang up the phone, call back and say it to someone and have to start the conversation with someone else. It would sound so basic, but it really made a difference. And it was the middle of the pandemic that no one was helping people. No one was really stepping forward and saying, hey, this is how you talk to people. This is how you respect people. Now looking forward as to where this state of the country is now, people are a little bit more angry now than they were in 2020. You hear a lot of violence on airplanes. You see a lot of concerns in hospitals that they're having security guards for hospital attendants because there is violence in the hospitals now. And even security guards at any school board meetings where they talk about mask mandates. It's very sad that in 2020, we were a country that was bunkered down. And now as we reopen, there's sort of a pent-up frustration by people. I hope that frustration is settling down. There's a lot of talk about what they look what they see in this economy about 4 or 5 months from now. And I do think that the concerns about inflation are going to settle down. We're going to look at the earnings report in the next few weeks of these corporations. And I really do think the corporations are going to show that America is robust, that we're doing well. I think the supply chain issues where you're not going to see products in the stores is going to be very evident during the holiday season, but I don't think that's a long-term concern. So I really don't think we have a lot of economic worries going forward in a few months from now. I think inflation is going to settle down. I think the supply chain issue for products is going to settle down. I think your milk, your water, your gas is all going to come down in price points. So things are going to ease down. And I think that start of 2022 is going to look a little bit much more like the end of 2019. A great report I heard this morning that basically said, going into the pandemic, we were not an incredibly robust economy. We were just slowing. We were slowing at like a 2-3% growth rate. I think that's where you're going to sort of start to see us. We're not going to see that hyperinflation. So I don't want you to be too concerned about where things are going. One of the things I learned early on is just go with it. Don't have people tell you what to do. Don't have people sort of tell you what they think something is or isn't, or how it is, or where it is. And every day throughout this week, I'm going to give you some sort of insight on what things were in those early days. One of the very first things I heard as soon as I pressed record was people saying, the video should just be 3 minutes. They actually said that. They said the video should be 3 minutes. I mean, just make a video. It shouldn't be more than 3 minutes. Someone made a video about me once saying he could have said everything in 60 seconds. No, I couldn't. No, I couldn't. But, there was actually a video about me telling me how I should just talk in 10 seconds and be done and press stop. And don't have people tell you what to do. Don't have a romantic partner tell you what to do unless you really like that. Don't have a business partner tell you what to do unless you agree with it. Don't tell someone that you're trying to launch a business with or do something what to do. Do things that you think make sense. If you have a gut reaction, you think it's right, then do what you think makes sense. And ultimately, you are the best gauge of what is good for you. You're the best gauge of what is good for you. And if you think it's right, then go with it. If you make a mistake, big deal. Then modify, then pivot, then make a little bit change. But ultimately, you owned it. You chose your decision. You said, I think this makes sense. I'm going to go with this one. I thought it through, and I'm going to go with it. And, to that person said, just 2-minute videos. Well, that was at least 2 minutes just there. Just 2 minutes right there. So there you go. Coming up next is not a 2-minute video, is Evenings Countdown, Evenings LA, and then Evenings LA at 5 p.m., and then we go into Evenings LA at 6 p.m. We go into a whole slate of programming tonight at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 30. 3 a.m., 3:30, all about Force Stimulus. We have 16 hours of programming on this channel every day now, all about Force Stimulus. Join me in all those shows. They're incredible, every hour, on the hour, until the new day. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers of YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. And join me on the big Evenings LA show coming up next. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.